The Cobblestone Society Museum in Childs, New York, stands as a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of a generation of masons and farmers in the mid-19th century. Located on Ridge Road between Buffalo and Rochester, the museum showcases a building style and way of life that was unique to upstate New York.
We believe there were around 900 cobblestone structures built in New York State, roughly between 1825 and 1860. Cobblestone buildings may be made either of glaciated stone, which was normally field stone, or they might well be lake-washed cobbles picked up along the beaches of Lake Ontario. I think it really flourished here in New York State because local masons showed great ingenuity and creativity in putting together these small, rounded lumps. No two cobblestone buildings are alike. We correctly refer to these buildings as cobblestone masonry. I think it's a mistake to refer to them as cobblestone architecture. After all, these were built in a time frame when there were different styles of architecture being used. So that's what we bounce off in describing these cobblestone structures, cobblestone masonry.
Cobblestone homes and buildings come in various architectural styles according to the trends of the era. Early structures were constructed in the Federal style, and masons also built Greek Revival, Gothic Revival, and the more ornate Italianate style homes, utilizing the various sizes of available cobblestones and creating distinct patterns. Cobblestones were collected from the fields and along the shoreline of Lake Ontario and then sorted according to size. They were readily available because of both geography and geology. Cobblestones are a glacial legacy of the Great Lakes.
It would have been a family affair where children would have been out maybe in the field picking up stones, using what would have been called a stone boat, probably pulled by oxen or maybe horses. And of course there was an inexhaustible supply of stone in the local fields when farmers started to clear the land. They discovered all kinds of glaciated stone in this region. This was kind of a byproduct from the land. They had stone, so they put it to use. Waste not, want not.
What we see today on the exterior of a cobblestone building is strictly decorative. It's an ornamental treatment to a thicker rubble wall.
It's really a frivolous form of decorative wall construction. The first settlers who came here built for their utilitarian needs. Well, they moved into a forest, so they built log cabins. As soon as there were sawmills erected where there was water power available, then they could begin to saw out lumber for frame dwellings. And we know there were brickyards in the area. Brickyards were producing local bricks in the 18-teens locally. So we had brick structures well before cobblestone buildings.
Another local industry important to the construction of cobblestone buildings was the production of quicklime. At the many limestone quarries in the area, limestone would be kiln-fired for oxidation and mixed with sand and water to create soft lime mortar, which is the substance that holds the irregularly shaped cobblestones together in cobblestone masonry.
A rectangular prism, such as a brick, stacks up much more easily than a rounded lump like a cobblestone. So it took a lot more labor to build a cobblestone building. These were indeed labor-intensive structures, and they were often built by the more prosperous farmers. So these structures became status symbols, I think, to a degree. If you could have a cobblestone house, you had something that was seen, I think, by the neighbors as something rather special.
The Cobblestone Society was formed in the 1960s when the empty Cobblestone Church and adjacent schoolhouse were going to be sold. Concerned local citizens treasured the building style distinct to our area and saw the opportunity to preserve both the church and the schoolhouse, two important pieces of local history, and created the Cobblestone Society Museum. Eventually, the Society also acquired the Ward House next to the church, and later, several other historically significant wooden buildings from the Orleans County area.
The first mission of the Cobblestone Society when it was formed was to draw attention to cobblestone masonry buildings, to establish a library to collect information and to disseminate this information about these unique structures.
The Society understood that the past isn't just events and dates. It's people. And in our case, it's people who lived and flourished right here in upstate New York. They used what the land provided to build beautiful cobblestone homes that are as distinctively upstate New York as are the southwestern Spanish adobes, the New England salt boxes or Cape Cod cottages, and the southern pillared plantation houses are to their regions. In 1993, the Cobblestone Museum complex was designated as a National Historic Landmark and included on the National and State Registries of Historic Places.
Being a National Historic Landmark puts us in a very special league. It's sort of what you would, I guess, describe as the creme de la creme of historic designation. We are the only NHL site in Orleans County. The historic Cobblestone Church at Childs is the oldest cobblestone church in North America. We believe there were 26 built by various denominations, but the one at Childs is the oldest. The marble tablet over the entrance door states, erected by the First Universalist Society, A.D. 1834, God is love.
The church was used from 1834 until the mid-1890s when the Pullman Universalist Church was built in the nearby village of Albion. Records indicate that the church was begun in April and completely finished by October to avoid interior exposure to the elements during the unpredictable winter months.
It was imperative to get a cobblestone structure up in one season and roofed. Otherwise, an open, incompleted wall would suffer damage with freezing and thawing during the wintertime. So it was important to get it up in one season. Then they could work on the interior work during the wintertime as long as you had the building finished on the outside.
Besides the church, the Cobblestone Society Museum includes the Cobblestone Schoolhouse, built in 1894, and the Ward House, which was built in 1836. The Ward House was originally built as a parsonage for the church and has been restored to reflect what life would have been like for someone living in upstate New York in the late 19th century. The Cobblestone Schoolhouse is just down the road from the church and the Ward House and was left almost exactly as it was on the last day of school in 1952, before the district was centralized, preserving yet another authentic glimpse into the past.
The Cobblestone Society is unique in having a church which has been pretty much untouched since the 1870s, a schoolhouse which has been left the way it was when last used, and the Ward House is certainly a good example of a residence that shows how life would have been carried on in the late 19th century.
In addition to the cobblestone buildings, the Cobblestone Society Museum has acquired and relocated several other historical structures from the area that would have otherwise been destroyed. They've been restored to reflect life in the 19th century and represent the Cobblestone Society's effort to preserve Orleans County history. The Cobblestone Heritage is distinctively upstate New York. and 90% of cobblestone structures in North America are located here. The Cobblestone Society Museum is a testament to the unique history of a building style that reflects not only the landscape, but more than that, the creativity and ingenuity of upstate New Yorkers. Visit us to explore the lives and legacy of those who lived a long time ago, but not so far away.